I'm Mark Paquita. I'm a candidate for U.S. Senate in 2022. That's right, 2022, not 2020. I wanted to have a lot of lead time for this because it's going to be a big fight, and you'll learn more about that as we get to know one another. The bottom line is that I'm vitally concerned about the disengagement of most voters in the political process. And what I mean by that is I think optimistically, there are about 20% of the voting public that are at all engaged in understanding what's going on politically, either at the federal level or the state level. Pessimistically, that number is probably 10%. If we saw off in the middle, that means that 85% of the voting public is getting their information most likely from the mainstream media. If 85% of the voting public is getting their information from the mainstream media, conservatives and Republicans are in big trouble. We know that the mainstream media, which includes the cable networks and the three-letter broadcast networks, have an extreme left / Democrat / progressive bias. There's no question about this. I mean, of course, they will say they don't, but they lie, they fabricate, they leave out information. You know, they lie through omission, and we know this as conservatives. But our friends and our family who are less engaged than we are in what's going on, they sometimes think that we're conspiracy theorists about the bias of the press. So I've struggled with this. I mean, these are people who have no time to go verify or confirm this information. They're busy with family. They're busy with career. They're busy with sports. They're busy with church. They're busy with volunteering. And they just don't have the time or the luxury of the time and availability to go do the research. So I thought, what do we do? And I think my answer is that we give them information in digestible chunks, short bursts of information, showing them where the mainstream media is flat out lying to them. I've decided to start this series with this video, and I'm going to call it Smash the Trash. Nothing really important or exciting about that title other than it rhymes and it's easy to remember. But we're going to smash the trash. We're going to expose the garbage. We're going to disrupt the propaganda and the lies that we see from the mainstream media. So I hope that this works. I hope that you will find this valuable enough that you'll be able to send the URL to this video via text to your friends and family, via Facebook, via Twitter, via Instagram, however you want to do it, via email. But I want to try to make it easy to show where the media is lying, show the lie or the misrepresentation or the fabrication and then the truth, and do it in a video format that's long enough to get the point across, but short enough that it doesn't lose people's interest. So we'll roll right into episode 1 of Smash the Trash. Thank you very much. I don't know about you, but I have found that Chuck Todd on Meet the Press is one of the most disingenuous and dishonest journalists that I've ever seen. This past Sunday morning, though, he outdid himself in that regard. I'd like you to watch this clip from Meet the Press. In it, there are 2 big lies back to back. And after the clip, I'll explain what they are and why they're so dishonest.
And demanding schools reopen in person despite the risk.
We have to open the schools. We have to get them open.
When he says open, he means open and full. The science should not stand in the way of this.
Let's look at the entire clip, including what comes after Kaylee says that.
Well, talked about earlier with school districts, but we're seeing more school districts, at least in Virginia, for example, last night, deciding to go online only. What does the president say to parents out there who are now going, okay, what do I do with my kids?
Yeah, the president has said unmistakably that he wants schools to open, and I was just in the Oval talking to him about that. And when he says open, he means open and full, kids being able to attend each and every day at their school. The science should not stand in the way of this. And as Dr. Scott Atlas said, I thought this was a good quote. Of course we can do it. Everyone else in the Western world, our peer nations, are doing it. We are the outlier here. The science is very clear on this, that, for instance, you look at the JAMA pediatric study of 46 pediatric hospitals in North America that said the risk of critical illness from COVID is far less for children than that of seasonal flu. The science is on our side here, and we encourage for localities and states to just simply follow the science, open our schools. It's very damaging to our children. There's a lack of reporting of abuse. There's mental depressions that are not addressed, suicidal ideations that are not addressed when students are not in school. Our schools are extremely important. They're essential, and they must reopen.
If you watch the whole clip, it's pretty clear that what she meant to say was that the science supports opening the schools and not that science is going to be disregarded. But when you look at that clip on Meet the Press, it looks like she's saying we're going to disregard the science, as if, or implying that the science doesn't support opening the schools. I think that's pretty dishonest and pretty heinous. Now, let's take a look at a clip about how we're doing as a country versus other countries with respect to the coronavirus.
Why does the U.S. trail the industrialized world in controlling the virus? Are things about to get worse?
So what I'm displaying here is the Johns Hopkins University coronavirus tracking website. And if you look at cases and mortality by country, what the news likes to talk about, what the mainstream media likes to talk about, is that we have almost 4 million confirmed cases and we have the most deaths of any country, right? So if I look at the most deaths here, we'll see 143,000 deaths compared to these other numbers. But if you look at the case fatality rate, that's the number of people who die based on confirmed cases, you'll see that the U.S. is way, way down here. We're down here at 3.6%, right? Where other countries like the United Kingdom are at 15.3%. Now, people will say, well, that's because the United Kingdom hasn't tested as much as the U.S., so they haven't found those cases that weren't fatal or weren't serious. Well, that's an interesting response to have, because at the same time, those are the same people that are saying that we're not testing enough. So when the numbers work against them, they'll say, well, we're testing more than anybody else. But when we talk about testing, because it will make the president and the administration look good, they say that because we're not testing enough. They will say we're not testing enough. Shoot, even I'm confused. And then if you look at deaths per 100,000 population, you'll see that the U.S. at 43 is well below Belgium, the United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, even Sweden, right? We heard about Sweden being kind of the poster child for the way to manage this disease. And Sweden has a higher death rate per 100,000 population than we do. So I think, once again, that clip makes it sound like we're doing poorly compared to the rest of the world, when in reality we're not. Those are the first two examples of where the mainstream media is really trying to pull a fast one, pull one over on the American voting public. I hope that you found them valuable, and I hope the people in your life who may not be as engaged as you are will find them valuable in understanding how the mainstream media is deceiving us. So that's the first episode of Smash the Trash. and I will try to keep these shorter in the future after this initial introductory video. Thanks a lot, and I will see you next time.